Right, sorry we're a bit late, but hopefully people will be finding me. I'm also going to find on my phone to make sure I can read comments, because on the laptop I can't always see it. So let's have a look. And there I am. Oh, look at that. Modern technology and all of that. Right, going to make sure I can't hear myself. And there I am. But I can. That's very off-putting. Right, good evening. So, is there anybody out there? Good evening. And welcome to Facebook Live tonight. So, what are we doing tonight? We are going to be looking through the class kit, in case anybody missed it last week. And I've got a nice little project to do. But obviously it had a bit of a busy day because we've been up at Highlight today, so that was lovely. So hot-footed it back through all the fog, and now it's raining as well. So I'm glad I'm back here safe and sound. So if anybody's there, bit of a shout out, say that you're here. Hello Mira, lovely to see you. The friends are asleep downstairs. They've had a busy day too, because they've had Auntie Christine, Auntie Helen looking after them while I've been out, and Paul's on his way back from Hull. So we will make a start in a minute. We'll just wait for a few more people to find us. I'm hoping I'm just appearing in normal places. I am going to turn off my phone because comments are appearing there. And hello Maureen as well. Hello Margaret. Actually, I am going to leave my phone on because it's showing me people's names of who's watching rather than the computer that's not. Hello Denise. Oh, you're watching something with your mum. That's fine. You're allowed to do that. But obviously with the whole joy of this is you can catch up later anyway. So let's make a start. So I'm going to flick to, hang on, it's that one. And then if I do that, oh look at that, I love that. Right, I just want to quickly go through the online workshop kit because I don't think I showed you this last week. So if you're ordering, so you can just book the online workshop just on its own, or you can order just the stamps on their own, and there's two stamps. I've put the other one, so there's this one, and then there's a greetings one, which is Somewhere Safe. And then you get things like a black, so stamps you can order on their own, or you can order the bundle of all the kit and caboodle, which is all the sort of embellishing-y bits that you've got. So there's a blank ink pad, there's some mica powders, there's some embossing powder, there's a background mask, an aperture stencil. Evening, Alison. Some skeleton leaves. More skeleton leaves than you need, but hey, you always need more skeleton leaves. Some twine, some little beads, some corrugated, then a selection of different card as well. So if you think you've got that sort of array of things, you don't need the accessories pack. The stamps, this is the main focal one, which is the beautiful snowdrop. I hope you can see that. Let me turn that over. Which is the beautiful snowdrop. He's going to feature in all four of the cards that we're going to do. So it's up to you whether you go for just the workshop on its own, which is £10, or you can buy the stamps individually. If obviously I've chosen the snowdrop, which is beautiful, but you may well want to mix up the greetings. So you don't have to buy the greetings stamps, which is the ornate greetings, but obviously if you haven't got any stamps like that, it's perfect. This is the sort of other bits and pieces that you'll need, so it's whether you want that as well. So I just wanted to crack that open so you can see the sort of things that you need. There is a list on the website as well. Right, so I'm going to put that safe to that side here, and then I'm going to pull in the masks and stencils we're using tonight. Okay, we have got the Art is an Adventure, the Bingo, I love this, there's something about numbers, the Blueprint, okay. And then in terms of stamps that we're cracking open tonight, we're going to look again at the Floral Creations because I do love that and it works really well. New one for tonight is the gingham background, a background that's so handy to have. And then we've also got the Christmas, just because we are creeping fast towards Christmas, and it is a handy one and also nice for journals and things. Okay, so let's have a look. Not that pile, wrong pile. this pile. Okay, so imagine you finish crafting for the day and you have got your standard pile of offcuts. This is left over from the weekend and from today. And you know what we're like. We're going, oh, that's too good to throw away. Oh, I'll put that in a box. Oh yes, put that, and you end up with this pile of scraps like this. So when I've lost my mojo, or I haven't got a particular project that I want to do in mind, I just sit with a pile like this. They don't have to be coordinated in any way. I mean, this is like New York, then you've got some maps. This is all wallpaper and stuff. Your mop-up sheets, anything like that. You just sit and you tear them up into little pieces. So just tear them up. Not too small, not too big either, okay? And I tend to do this into a little tub. Wallpaper, by the way, is really hard to tear. And because obviously as you're tearing up, you're going to get layers of the same colour. So I put them either into a bag or into a tub, and then I shake them up. And then I sit with a piece of card and I glue them all on until my piece of card is covered. Don't panic. I did it earlier. So look at that. You've got a beautiful collage of all these different bits of paper. And I try hard not to leave any white cards showing. Okay, I overlap them. There's all sorts going on here. That is so uncoordinated, it's hilarious. But that's what we want. And it's literally, don't think about it. This is perfect for junk journals. Hello, Elspeth. Yes, you can get the workshop just on its own for those people that have already got all the stuff. Right, so yes, perfect for junk journals. Just as it is, it's a great cover, but it's something, this is like an idea spurring piece. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of my stencils. I hope you can't hear the rain outside. I'm hoping my mic's not picking it up because it does sometimes bounce off that ceiling a little bit. But it sounds quite delightful out there. So I'm just, again, don't think too much about this. This is what I love because it is a proper, when you just, sometimes your brain just needs a break. Okay, so I'm just adding some words. And again, I didn't even look what ink it was. I just picked up an ink pad. Okay. Rotate your paper, your card round so you're not always going in the same direction, because that's important. Okay, so just a little bit of that. I'm going to go with my numbers and I'm going to swap my ink pad now. And again, I'm not looking. It's whatever came out of the car earlier. Yeah, okay, I'm not even changing my sponge. I'm that much of a rebel tonight. Although please note, white top and ink. This could be better. Has anybody noticed anything about the overhead camera and that Paul lovingly turned it round so it's now the right way? So you can see it the right way up. Isn't he a good un? And I can say that because he's not watching because he's in the van on his way back from Hull. So here we go. So I'm just adding a little bit of that. So this is just really, really basic. And any old colour, okay. We're going to get more in-depth with it in a minute. Going off the page, I'm not really thinking about it. Right, so that's a bit of ink. And because I can't just stick to one medium, I am going to throw in some paint now as well. So I've got some white. Looks a bit delightful. Maybe I should have checked that that was a fairly newish pot, but it's not. It's fine. It'll be fine. And I'm going to come in with the Czar one. I think this will be really nice. So I'm just sort of stippling, and I'm going over the ink as well, because what will happen is the ink will sort of capillary up into the paint and give you a really nice sort of tonal look. I'm not going too heavy with this, and I will dry it in a minute. Just a little bit of interest. And I'm only really doing this around the edges. I've got things to go on in the middle in a minute. And obviously you can build up Let's move that up a little bit. You can build up more white so it will show up even more, but we're going to come to more in a minute. Yeah, didn't he do well, Mirror? Yes, you know, he did good. Although it's a little bit further away, so I do have to reach, but shh, don't tell him. So there's a bit of white. By overlaying all the different colours and things, we are starting to sort of unify this a little bit. Now, this is where I'm going to be very naughty, because I'm going to come in with black next. And I'm not going to change my sponge, but I am going to work on an acrylic block so I don't messy up my mat too much, as this is my good clean mat. Okay, and by not changing my sponge, it means that we are going to get different tones within this. So we're not going to get just harsh black, we're going to get shades of grey and not 50. So I'm just coming in round. I'm not thinking about this. Evening, Maxie, hello. Yeah, this is the perfect one when you're a bit tired, you want to chill out, but you want to do something creative, because what this will give you is loads of things to work with. But all of this process, this layering, I'm not thinking about it, okay? Right, I'm quite happy with the amount of paint I've got on there. Oh, I did remember to bring my kitchen towel. So I'm just going to clean that off because, as I say, wearing a white top, really that wasn't a good choice. Okay, into the bin under there. Oh, moved the bin. Right, going to give this a quick dry. Hi, Jam. Hi, Julie. Okay. The reason I'm giving this a quick dry is I'm going to come on with some embossing powder, because hey, why not? So, giving that a quick dry. Now, what I have got, I've got a Quickly glue pen, and I've got a Zig one as well. Never used the Zig one before, so we'll give that a little. So I'm just doing some little squiggles. I'm not going to do too much at any one time because I just want to be able to, and I'm going to come in with some embossing powder. Now obviously there might still be some wet glue here. That's fine, I don't mind if the embossing powder clings to that as well. And I'm just going to, but where the pens should have put a line of glue down, I will change the colour in a minute as well so it shows up more. But this is a really lovely colour. You see that green colour coming through? So where I've done those swirls, so just make sure you give it a good dry, not a dry, a melt. Apologies if my words are failing me this evening. I've seemed to have done a lot of talking today, even in the car when I was on my own. Right, there we go. So we just, and look at that, right, hang on. Let me get that like that and then do this. And then you can see, look at that shine. Yeah, so we're going to build up more on the embossing powder side. I'm thinking I'm wanting a bit heavier on the embossing. So I'm going to, the glue pens are just a little bit too thin. So I'm going to go proper normal wet glue. And I'm just doing a thin trail across here. And also it means I can do the whole thing. Okay, just some little trails. And I have got a blue one. So I'm going to do some blue like that and tip that onto a different piece of paper. Okay, and then into its pot. And then that sheet that I picked up the little bit from earlier, I'm going to put that on as well. And by working on the sheet, I'm not contaminating my whole pot. Okay, and then just sort of flick it around. Okay, and just throw on. So I've now made a bit of a mix of powder. And I just put that in a bag. I don't, you know, that's not wasted powder. It's just a new colour. Right, so we're going to get this melting as well. So you can also see that it's picked up some of the ink as well. But because the ink is partially dry, it's not picked up a full image of it. So you're just getting these little hints of the colour. So, who have I missed? Hi, Sue. So I've said hello to Elspeth. Yeah. Right, so we're just going round. And always when you heat embossing, don't waft. That's for drying. We're going to just move round and catch all these little bits. I'm not just doing this because it will warm my hands up. Now, the nice thing is when you've used glue, it actually bubbles a little bit and you get really lovely texture with this. Okay, so I'm just going round, making sure. But I love how, because the ink isn't fully dry, particularly on the different papers as well. So sort of some of the wallpaper has a bit of almost a waterproofing to it. I suppose it needs it if it's wallpaper. So some of the ink has stayed wet, but not fully wet. So you're just getting a real distressed look to it. Just make sure you go round, tip it so you can see. And by mixing in some of that nice pearly embossing powder, I've got a shimmer to this as well. Now, I know you're probably thinking this is looking all a bit too busy and a little bit crazy, but bear with me, because what these come out like is fabulous. Okay, keep going round and round and round and round and round. Why did I do such a big one? But to be fair, you want to do a big sheet like this. And sometimes when it comes to the gluing the paper down, I actually, you know, I'll have a piece of card at the side of me when I'm working, especially if I'm doing something like a junk journal where I know I'm going to get loads of little scraps of paper. And I just randomly stick them as I'm going along. The only problem with that is you have to be disciplined at making sure you mix them up. Because obviously you're going to have bits of the same paper at the same time. Right. That's looking fabulous. Trust me. Okay, so we've got that. Now, I want to do a little bit more interest with the embossing. So that was normal fine embossing powder. Let me just clear the decks a little bit. Right. I want to do some little patches with some ultra thick, and also for this I'm going to come in with some of our stamps. So I'm going to just get them onto some blocks ready. Okay, so I'm going to have a bit of the gingham, and I might have that florally vine from the Floral Creations, and I might put on one of the definitions, and I am being a bit sort of extra by having loads of acrylic blocks, but it just means I don't have to worry. Right, so I've got those, and I'm going to ink those up with any old colour, doesn't matter. Pine cone. I just need them inked up ready so that when I come to use them with the ultra thick embossing, I don't have to worry about what I'm doing. So I want to just create some sort of texture in some areas here. So I am going to get my glue. And again, I'm not thinking, I'm just going to put some there, and I'm going to smear it around with my finger. Okay, and then I'm going to come in with, start with a bit of copper. Okay, so again, tip off the excess. So you've just got a patch of copper embossing powder. Okay, and I'm going to heat that. Now the nice thing with using glue to hold your ultra thick is it really grabs it. But when you're doing ultra thick, it will go into like a ball shape first. You want to heat it a little bit more, but also because we've got glue, I don't know if you can see that, proper bubbling. Okay, then I've also got some other colours here. And I'm going to sprinkle some of those on as well. And with the glue, it will tend to stay warm a little bit longer, so I can melt that in, but still come in a bit cautiously. So we're adding in an extra colour, and I have got, so just get that going nicely. I've got a purple here to add. So I'm just really mixing in these. This is proper alchemy. Okay. So just get that to melt in. There we go. Oh, that purple looks nice against that. Sprinkling a little bit more copper. We're just building up a patch, like a puddle. I think I'm going to have some more of that purple as well. I will come back to the green as well. I'm not... Just sprinkle it in. And by doing pinches, I'm not having to tip it off or anything. A bit more. Okay. A little bit more copper. And I'm using sort of barely any grains of it here. It's just to give that nice... Right. Then I'm just going to keep warming that for a second. And while it's still molten, I'm going to take my stamp and press it in. Now, when you're pressing into ultra thick, it's very, very tempting to sort of press really firmly. But actually, you've got to remember, you're pushing into a liquid. So if you press too firmly, it's going to slide straight off. So just press down with your normal pressure. Count to about 10 and then peel it away. Can you see that? Isn't that beautiful? You got all that lovely texture. You can also add mica to your stamp. Let's do one more panel here, and then we'll see what we're going to do with all these bits. As you can do more of this with it in a bit anyway. So I'm going to smear this around. Let's have a bit of a bigger... Let's start with the purple this time. Okay, and any embossing powder works. Ultra thick is best because you can build it up quite quickly. But you can use the fine, and in fact I've just noticed over there I've got that pile of fine that I had left over from what I was doing a minute ago. So we'll add that in as well. Yeah, embossing is just one of the best things. It's always magical. And if you can just, again, I'm not thinking, this is such a sort of a fun piece to do. It's a no thinking. I'm just playing with what I've got. Okay, that's probably a little bit too much, but I'd go slowly. It's going to take a little bit longer. There you go. Once you start to get it to go, it's less likely to fly off. But can you see that colour? So that's that blue and the sort of goldy green colour. Let's get that melting. And it's bubbling, and it's just... Okay. Get that melting a bit more. Oh, that's lovely. Throw in a little bit of copper just to give it a bit of depth. They're just... And because you've got layers of paper under there as well, you've got texture. I mean, you could just leave that panel like that, but I am going to come in with that definition. So I just need to make sure it's all nice and warm. And you can see it's warm because you can actually see it moving. Okay. Again, don't press too hard and count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pull it out. You see you've got almost like a waxed seal going on. And you could just do patches of this all over, but I want to show you what this is all about. Again, you could just do some stamping as well, but obviously because this is very textured, stamping over it is going to be harder, but you've got lovely interest there. I mean, just those are just, you know, in junk journals and things like that, that is really lovely. But this is all about trying to spur the imagination without having to think about it. And one of the things with a project like this is actually making it random, but with an element of control. I know that sounds a silly thing to say, but I want to liberate yourself. So by having randomness, it's always very liberating, but for some people that's really hard to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn it over. We're going to dry underneath there, because obviously I've been heating and the glue was still a little bit wet. We've got a little bit of moisture going on under there. So I'm just going to dry that. Okay, and we'll sweep that onto the floor. Okay, and I'm just wondering if I flick to that so you can see that way. You see all that love, look at the colour and the way it catches the light. Okay. Right, turn it over onto the back. And then you just want a straight edge. And I'm going to use my very, very, very old folding ruler, because that's a nice width. Okay. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take, not a glue pen, that'd be no good. Honestly, this is such... Elspeth, this is such a relaxing and fun thing, because it is play. You're playing with paper, you're playing with your mediums. Anything that you want to try out, this is the perfect thing to do it on, because it's not a project in itself, but what you end up with is loads of little projects that you can do, which is what we're doing at the moment. So all I'm doing is I'm just gridding this up on the back. Okay, so and we do it on the back, so we're not going, oh, I need to do that there, you're not thinking about it. You can't see what's on the other side. You can't even remember which way up your card is. Now, sometimes I leave that, I'm going to leave that one wider. It's a bit harder on the length with this one, because obviously the ruler's not that long, but I'll go back and do those in a minute. And you could do this with your trimmer, your guillotine, or anything like that. But I always find then there's the temptation to turn it over and look at the pretty side. And I think it's much nicer. It's a lot easier for anybody that struggles with random. This is the way forward, because it's random, but it's also controlled, because you're cutting this up into squares. This is perfect. This is control. But what's on the other side is the random. Okay, so we're just going to grid all these up. So I've got some odd shaped ones there. And then it's just a case of cutting it up. And again, try not to peep what you're creating. Snip away. So you can see how many little squares. So if anybody does twinches and ATCs and things like this is a really nice way to get a base. I am going to do some slightly bigger ones. So if I do that as a double row, I've got some bigger ones, which we can do some things with. Notice I'm not peeping. I'm going to do another couple of bigger ones. Just depends what size you break them up into. I can tell when I'm cutting through embossing, I can tell you that. It's quite thick there. And then you just keep going till it's all cut up. And if you can resist turning it over at this point, it is better. But it's not essential, because you are dying to turn it over to see. Okay, I'll leave that panel for a minute. Okay, let's see what we've created. Oh, they're nice. See, straight away you've got the starts of some toppers. Oh, look at that. See, by doing this on the back, that is in a corner. If I'd have worked on the front, your brain would have tried to put that in the middle, and you don't want it in the middle. You want it random. Oh yeah, look at that one. Again, there's the other half of it. So you've just got these amazing little bits of interest. Hello, Sarah Jane. I think, yeah, if you miss me live, it's fine. You can catch it up later. And I think a lot of people weren't expecting me to be live because obviously I was up north earlier. But the M1 was very kind today. But look at those, aren't they fabulous? Right, let's start with one. I mean, that on its own, I think I would just have a couple of those on the front of a card. Would look amazing. I haven't got any white card, have I? Only in that kit. Where's my little book? Where's my book? I'll just grab some card from under here. So, you know, just two of those, and then maybe a nice sentiment. But let's start doing some things on top of them. Push them to one side. Let's make some little flowers to go on it. Okay, where's my flower stamp? And, oh, he's got embossing powder on the back of him. I wonder how that happened. There's paper on everything. So let's just ink that up. Sue, you're fine being late? Yes, Maria, that's fine. You can catch up later. I'll ask questions on Saturday. Make sure you watched. Right, so yeah, I should do a quiz at the end, shouldn't I? Right, so I'm just using VersaFine Clair, and just to back it up, I am going to put some embossing powder on there as well. It will just give it a little bit of a shine and make these pop. Now, because I am layering these onto quite busy backgrounds, I have stuck to just sheet music. So just monochrome, so that they will pop against what we're working on. So just heat set that. Down we go. And I love these stamps for this. So I'm going around, cutting it out very loosely. There we go. Weak. I do like these because they're easy to cut out as well. So, and then I'm going to pick one of my little squares that I've got. So these little squares that we made earlier all become like little miniature canvases that we can decorate. So here's quite a plain one. So I think I'm going to add maybe 2 flowers. Or I've got these in a thrift shop in America. That'll keep me going for a while. Just plain little flowers. So just one like that, one little flower in the corner. Mat it up onto a different, or smack bang in the middle, set of 3 with a little flower in the middle of each of them. Would look lovely on a card. So we'll do that on that one. We'll add a couple of flowers to this one. Do feel I want a word there, or some text. I think it just needs so. But I don't necessarily want it to be something that's overly red. If that makes sense. I just want something. So I'm going to come in with this. So I'm just arranging those so we've got some things to play with. Oh, actually, I've just turned that over. Climb the Heights. I like that. I'm going to just tear that off. I'm going to add some words to this. Again, so for your journals and things like this, these are perfect because they're just like little mini pieces that you can, yeah, so that. See, just simple. Yeah, so I think that one, I don't know if I want that flower now. But I don't glue anything down yet, so I'm quite happy with that one. We've got to have number 13 on one. And that's only a little one, so I think add that. And again, you can obviously work more on these. So if you want to ink the edges, just like you would on anything, let's see what, Yeah, apologies. I didn't overly remember to do a Facebook post reminding everybody that this was going to be on, but apologies. But you can watch back. So I think, I mean, look at the depth in that embossing, and they're just so much fun you can have with these. I'm going to ink the edge of that one. Don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but this is the point of these. They're just, you can just start to add a little bit of words, a little bit of stamping to them. Obviously it's not going to be absolutely perfect because of the texture there. I didn't use me gingham background, did I? Just a little bit. I do want another flower on here, so I'm going to come in and do another flower. I'm going to leave that one there because that's just absolutely delightful, and that one, and those ones are going to go in the pile to be dealt to for things to do later, because I do end up with a few of these and they're just matte and layered up. They're beautiful. There's so much you can use them for. Little tags. Sue did a beautiful waterfall card with some panels like this. That was really effective. So yeah, there's all sorts of different things. Join them together into a stream, make little tags to go on your journals, all sorts of different things you can do with them. So I will glue some of these up, I promise. I won't just leave them lying around. But covers of journals, make a little notebook with these on the front. Okay. So I'm just, by using Distress ink under an embossing powder, it doesn't cling perfectly, so you get a real sort of distressed look, I suppose is the only way to describe it. But it just gives it a more aged look, because as fabulous as heat embossing is, sometimes it's a little bit too perfect. So you want it to have a little bit more character. There we go. So again, cutting these out. But by having these in a fairly plain colour, you see how they pop against those brightly coloured backgrounds that we've created. And then we'll make some of these up into a little project, because then I'll do my usual photograph them so you can see them in detail. Because I appreciate, even though Paul did sort out the overhead camera, I'm obviously moving about as well. So there we go. Right, got some little gems there. I've got a limited amount of stuff upstairs today because obviously I took a load with me to highlight, so I had to sort of unpack my bag a little bit. Oh, of course I forgot everything. Right, I'm just going to make some card. Don't judge the way I'm folding a card there. Just so that I can show you how these look nice when you've got... The other thing, when you've got a busy topper like this, or, if it's on a journal page or something, don't put busy on busy. So something like that, keep it fairly plain. And then your greeting underneath. And I would possibly matte them onto a little bit of black, just again to give it a little bit of contrast, a little bit of framing. And also when you've got these, because you've cut them up on the back and everything's nicely offset, if you can try and mimic that when you stick things on as well, that helps. But I'm just going to add some little gems to the corner. I did have some pearls about as well. I'm just going to go with black ones actually, just because they will pop out nicely. So you can sort of really go to town on the embellishing of these tiny things, but they don't need a huge amount because they've already got that fabulous interest. And every one, so even if you were doing a series of cards, every one would be completely different. Obviously, I'm now going to glue that onto there. That is so the wrong way to do it, but I realised I should have put the glue on the back before I put the gems on. Add a greeting. Obviously, the only greeting I've got with us today is Christmas, but that's fine. That'll work if I can find it. How can I get, in the space of 44 minutes, in so much mess? Who knows? Who knows? Right. But this would be really nicely with our with loves and things like that. Just so much more interesting, because when you look at it, there's so much to see, so many different colours and so much texture. I mean, just look. Let me bring it. Oh, look at that. Look at the colours in there. So, you know, and that's just from not even thinking about it. And that's what I love about these. So let's mat this one up, finish this one up as well. So again, a bit of glue in the middle there. Add the flowers. Add the words. You know, and have a look around for your words. You know, find little sayings. Go through old books and pick out, purposely pick out particular sayings. I mean, that just happened to catch my eye. And I think I'm going to put a gem in the middle of the flower just to give it a little bit more dimension and interest. I'm going to go fairly plain with that. Okay, so that one. Yeah, I am sticking this on the back so that I'm using the same card blank. So just... And I'm not matting these, but you imagine those with a little bit of black behind them as well. But you could... No, I don't want to... Yeah, let's make that into a panel card. And I will add a little flower to the middle of each of these. But this is... Actually, I'm not going to add a flower to that one. I'm just going to add a flower to this one, because that's far too interesting. But this is what I love about them. Just laying them out on the table like this sparks the imagination. And that's what it's about. It's about a project that you can do, that you can get completely and utterly lost in. There's no pressure. And by that nature of that, it means that it's very liberating and you just spark imagination. But if you look at the papers we started with, they did not coordinate in any way, shape or form. So let's have a quick, if I do that. So that's that side. And then if we just miraculously turn it over, we've got that one as well. Just from these scraps of card, we've started to, and just playing, literally just playing. Okay, I will glue those down properly. Right, this last few we've got here, because how are we doing for time? I haven't heard the dogs bark, so I don't think that means Paul's back yet, unless he's snuck in the building. He might have done. Hi Dave, how are you? Right. So, number 13, a flower. What else have I got? See, you can also, that's quite nice, having them overlapping. Well, it'd look better if it didn't have embossing powder all over it. Okay, let's start. I am going to just commit to getting these on. Yeah, what I love about all these ones, yes, they do make beautiful cards, and they're all so different. And you can go just, a simple, just one. If you mat and layer it, I can't believe I haven't got any black card up here. Literally haven't got any black card. So unlike me. But, if you just mat a single one with maybe a word on it or just a simple flower off one corner. Really, really stylish. Also, apply a coat of resin over the top and punch a hole in it. How fabulous would they be as pendants? It's all sorts of different things that you can do that are just so different. I'm going to offset. I do love it when you've got that little bit of ultra thick embossing powder in there. And because of the way you've done this, it's so... There's no pressure. It's not like you're working on a specific topper. So when you're doing ultra thick embossing, a lot of people get sort of in a little bit of not a panic, that's not the right word, but it's quite stressful because it's like, if I mess it up and everything. But if you're doing it on here, it doesn't matter because it's going to get cut up and it's going to be, so it frees you up significantly. I think that looks really nice, those three together. And I think I do want, you know, maybe, yeah, have a cascade of flowers in there. But again, all your embellishments that you put on, keep them fairly plain so it's not going to busy. You could die cut these up, but the only thing is when you die cut them up is you do lose a lot of bits. Whereas this way, I've kept every single piece of these sort of, they used to be called serendipity squares, which I think is quite a nice name, but I just call them waste not, want nots. And it's something that I quite often do at the end of a workshop because A, I'm really mean and don't let them throw anything away. And B, it is just a really fun way, and you look at what other people are doing and you get ideas. And also when you're just a little bit tired, and because I am today because it's been a long day, it's something that you can really get stuck into. So I would leave that one like that. And then the last one, I just love that number 13 on there. I'm just going to stick that there. But some of these I might come back and do more to them. You know, I could do a panel of the ultra thick embossing in the corner there, but I do love it when you just get a little hint of it. So I've got all of these still to play with, and just turn them round as well. Sometimes you'll pick it up and you go, no, and then you turn it round. It's like, oh wow, it looks completely different. So just really, it's really hard to put into words, but it is such a good play activity. I mean. That they have the smallest bins as well, but it just, because you hear people go, oh, you know, I don't know what to do, I've lost my mojo, you know, all those sorts of things. But something like this, where it's got no purpose, I suppose, initially, other than just having fun and having a little bit of creative time, a little bit of you time, but it just frees you up. And then once you start with something, the ideas start to flow, and every single one would be completely different. It's just really, really lovely way to use up things. Sorry, yeah, that's fine, Louise. You're allowed to have a little nap. Trust me. After I've cooked dinner, I'm going for the same tonight. Yeah, it's been a long day, but it's been a lovely day because you've been spending it with creative people. I'll come back to there. Hello. Sorry, probably got bags under my eyes. But yeah, I just wanted to sort of say that something like this, it's a lot of fun, and you can use whatever you've got around you. But just a few little stamps like the Floral Creations are such a lovely one to really sort of, because you can stamp and emboss it, and you can make sort of simple embellishments. That vine, you saw how beautiful that was in the ultra thick embossing. So, you know, it's one of those that you go to time and time again, and you get such fabulous results with them. I mean, it's just, you know, I had no idea what it was going to look like at the start. No idea at all. Let's put that one back on there. Should really stop flicking these around. So that's going to go on there. You know, they all came out completely different, and each one sort of sparked, obviously that's not straight, I'm going to glue it on. But I mean, just this embossing here, look at that. It's just delicious. And everyone is going to be different, and everyone is so unique and special because you can mix your colours and everything. It just is so much fun, and as I say, extremely liberating, because you don't know where they're going to go, and each one will spark an idea, and you get all these little bits so that you can, you know, add a string to them, make them into bookmarks, put panels in, and then doodle around them. You know, use them just as mats on a card, you know, with if you've got a small topper, and have that as your mat and a very plain little topper. In fact, if I quickly do that just to show you what I mean, need my flower, and then I'll call it a night because I can tell my brain is starting to frizzle. I just thought this would look really nice. So again, talking about using, let's just flick to that one so you can see what I'm doing. I just want a bit of paper underneath there because I'm just going to stamp over the top of that vine. Okay. Because then you put a plain panel in the middle of there. Again, a real, I think that one actually. You know, so a simple teeny tiny topper, that's not easy to say, with a beautiful ornate frame around it. Again, totally different look. Let's flick. You know, so we've got all these very, very different looks, all starting from the same scraps of paper. Okay, make sure I'm on the... So, thank you for tuning in to this week. I will be back next week and possibly less tired and more brain power. Don't forget to have a look at the online workshop. I'm really excited about it. There will be things like, you've had a sort of a slight hint at some of the things we're going to be doing, but it will be a lot of fun and it will be interactive so that everybody, you know, nobody will get left behind. We'll make sure everything is achievable, you know, and I'll be there to hold your hand with it. It'll be no different to an in-person one, except you can mute me, which you can't in an in-person workshop. So again, thanks ever so much for watching. Let me just, yeah, that's the one. So I'm still learning everything, so I'm all over the place. Hopefully I haven't, oh, hello, Becky. Sorry, I've got to say hello to Becky. Tonka says hello. He would do, but he's asleep downstairs. Auntie Becky is who Tonka goes to stay with when we go away, and he loves her very, very much. She spoils him. But yeah, so thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next week. In the meantime, Maria, I will see you Saturday. We are glass fusing, and it's the big glass fusing. So I will post pictures of what everybody makes, if I remember. Shout out to everybody that did the book binding this week. I hope you all made a book. That was their homework. They had to make a book for Christmas. And everybody else, keep dry, keep warm, and keep creating. And I will see you soon. Take care.